welcome back to the channel. I am really glad you're here. Welcome to Livestream number 17. They just keep adding up. I'm so happy to see you. Let me just say hello to Emery Thompson, who was the first one here tonight. Hey, Emery. And Ross on the Land also made a comment even before the live stream began. So good to see you folks. And Chris, Watershed Overlook, who is now an official YouTube content creator. What do you have? 2 videos out now, Chris, right? Good job. I'm glad to see you moving forward and working on that. So you have good potential there. Kevin Brewer, John, Kevin, Emery, you guys are here, and I'm just really happy for that. And MJ, is that M plus J equals A doing stuff? Did you change your channel, shorten it up a little bit to MJA doing stuff? I think you did, unless it's just somehow shortened here. But that's Mitch, who has a great channel. And David. Hello, David. Good to see you. So let me pull up my little notes here. At any rate, we have some fun in store tonight. And I'm really glad that you're here because I'm tying tonight's live stream into the video that I just put out last week. I thought that'd be kind of neat. Hopefully you saw the video. Let me know in the comments. Did you see video number, I think it was number 51, was the last one where we tilled the garden at Ranch Hope, the local organization, and they have the community garden. That was a lot of fun to put together, and I thought it would be neat to tie tonight's live stream into that video. So hopefully you saw that video. If you didn't, hopefully after this live stream, you'll be curious and want to check it out. So let's start out with... why don't we play our full jingle tonight? I didn't do it last week. I don't think John Ritter's here tonight. I don't know, but John said he couldn't get the song out of his mind. But just a little fun. We don't have the bouncing ball, but we're pretty close. So enjoy the opening.
Welcome to my cluttered garage. I'm really glad you're here. A place where we can laugh and talk and days are filled with cheer. The clouds of sun, they come and go, but one thing's always clear. Welcome back, my friend. You know I'm really glad you're here. Yeah.
Kind of fun, right? Hey, just a reminder that if you're watching on YouTube, you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you're watching on Facebook, you can find me on YouTube. So it's mostly a YouTube channel, but we are simulcasting to both Facebook and YouTube. If you enjoy the live stream, please click the thumbs up at any point, whether it's now or later, but it means a lot to me when you click that thumbs up. Speaking of thumbs up and subscribers, I'm really excited because the channel is almost at 10,000 subscribers. I don't know if that means anything. I don't think YouTube does anything special for you, but actually it does. It does do something special. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Anyway, the channel is currently at about 9,345 subscribers, rising by several each day, and I really, really appreciate that. And I'm excited to see that 10,000 mark come up very soon. So thank you to those of you who have subscribed, and I think most of you watching tonight are subscribers because I love to see you here every week. But thank you. So that's kind of fun. Tonight's show, if you saw in the thumbnail, we've got Dave Bailey, who is the CEO of Ranch Hope, and Ranch Hope was the organization that we featured in the last video. So Dave is going to come on here shortly, and we're going to talk about a little bit about the history of the ranch, what the ranch does for these youth, and some of the programs that they have. One of them is obviously this community garden, and it's pretty interesting what they do there. And also, they ordered some equipment, as you saw in the video, that they were waiting on, and I want to talk about that equipment a little bit. Dave's not a big tractor guy, but we're hoping that you are familiar with some of the equipment, and maybe you can lend a hand in the comments and help out with that. Today is May 10th. I don't have a whole lot of fun facts for you because trying to keep the show moving along here. But I did find some fun facts that I thought I'd share. Going back to 1877, the first telephone was installed in the telegraph room in the White House, thanks to President Rutherford B. Hayes. So I don't know the history of the telephone, but I think that's probably impressive. Who do you think he called? Like, who had a phone back then? Probably just Alexander Graham Bell, right? Hey, Alex, it's Ruth. Guess where I am? It was probably fun, though. Anyway, fun fact, 1996, on this day, the disaster movie Twister was released. That was a good movie. It's still a favorite among a lot of people. That came up in a conversation lately. I don't know why. I was talking with folks about natural disasters, and they talked about their favorite movie being Twister. This is fun for Apple. In 2017, Apple became the first company to achieve worth more than $800 billion. Amazing. And here I am, live streaming from a 9-year-old Apple computer. So they're not getting my money anytime soon. I'm going to hold out until this thing dies, which could be any moment because it's getting pretty slow. Let's, before I go back to the comments, turn that off because I don't have any more fun facts for you tonight. Who's Your Helpers? Yeah, good to see you, Jace. Who's Your Helpers is here tonight. And did I miss anybody? I don't think I did yet. Margaret, good to see you. And I think we're good there. So good to see you guys again, chatting with each other. I love to see when you say hi to each other and chat with each other. It's really a neat community. So now I'm going to bring our guest in. So that would be fun. I just have to click the right buttons here. We're going to welcome Dave Bailey Jr. from Ranch Hope. He's the CEO. We'll bring him in right now. There he is. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Ed. Great to see you.
I am glad to see you, and I just can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. So, you should see some of these comments on your screen as well. So, folks here, I want to introduce you to Dave. Dave and I have actually known each other for a long time. He's always been a little bit older than me.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Yes. I keep trying to catch up, but I can't. So,
well, I want your listeners and your watchers to know, your subscribers, that the Ed Masker that you see on this show, that's him. He is legit, down to earth, good friend, and easygoing guy that just tells you things straight and always educating me in a lot of different ways, and I appreciate him. And it's great to be with him tonight.
That's very kind, Dave. I appreciate that. Yeah, you can't put on this awkwardness. You know, it's natural. You can't make this up. So, Dave, why don't we jump in with? A lot of these folks did see the video last week, so we'll talk about that. I explained in the video that the ranch was started by a Methodist minister whose name also happened to be Dave Bailey.
That's correct.
But it was a senior. So your parents started this. What would you call it? I mean, it was a mission for them, and
yeah. So back in the late 1950s, my father, who is now 85 years of age, mom and dad are both 85, still working every day, still going 100 miles an hour, a lot of energy, still all about kids and people and relationships. And really excited about the garden. He, as a lot of young men or women that are called into ministry, whether they're good at it or not, they get kind of called into youth ministry and working with kids. And so that was where my dad was at initially, and he had come raised in a blue collar DuPont. Where we are, DuPont is a big company here in South Jersey. His father worked at Chambers Works for DuPont. He was the youngest of 7. So kind of a tough tough background coming up, so he was used to working with tougher kids and being able to relate to kids who may have needed a second chance in life. And so he felt called away from the pulpit ministry of being a pastor and starting a program for kids. He was a big fan, a big Western fan. He used to go to the movies for whatever it was, 5 or 10 cents, and watch Western movies. So he always wanted to be at a ranch and start something. And there was a really cool movie that came out in the late 50s about a priest by the name of Father Flanagan. And he had started a program called Boys Town out in Nebraska. Right. And that really struck a chord with Dad. And he wanted to kind of create the same kind of family environment for kids to give them a second chance here in South Jersey. And the rest is history. He left the Methodist ministry and had some friends come together, some local farmers and friends that gave him the money to buy the property. And we're on about 130, 150 acres here in South Jersey. And we, in 1962, a nonprofit organization called Ranch Hope Incorporated was founded. My mom and dad purchased the property and then immediately turned it over to a nonprofit organization called Ranch Hope Incorporated with a board of directors. And it's kind of funny, Ed, lots of folks, friends of mine like you, will say from time to time, well, the Baileys own all that property out there in Alloway, and we don't. I am an employee just like anybody else is, and it is fully owned and operated by a nonprofit corporation called Ranch Hope.
That's true. That's true. You could be gone tomorrow, Dave.
I may be. Ed. We'll see if the good Lord wants to take me on tomorrow. That could happen.
We'll try to keep you.
I was just talking to my life insurance person today. So maybe you.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean that. Jeez, you know. I just meant they could replace you tomorrow. I didn't mean.
They certainly could. I mean,
we could all be gone tomorrow. That's for sure. That's for sure. Hey, so part of the reason that I thought that the viewers of this channel would appreciate is because. You know, the channel is based on a lot of rural activities, farming, tractoring, and I think it's neat that the ranch is, like you said, kind of the Western feel and whatnot. I have a little clip I'm going to show from your original, was like a documentary promotional film that was made when the ranch opened, right? What was that, 62 or so, right? So I thought this little piece was kind of neat, and if I could play that, we'll take a quick look.
Cool.
Since the ranch was founded in 1962, many young men have come to this treatment-oriented facility where there are no bars on the windows, and the only fences are those the boys erect to contain the horses and other livestock. Open space and fresh air provide the atmosphere for physical as well as spiritual growth. In sharp contrast to the gray walls of the typical reform school, each ranch house is designed in a Western motif and maintained to appear as attractive and homelike as possible.
Anyway, that was a neat little. I thought that was a neat little clip. That things haven't changed all that much from 1962. It still has a nice ranch feel to it, and
I'm chuckling because the video that you did last week. You got to see Jason Salim pounding some nails, and Jason pounding some nails in the shed there to hang up some equipment. And
that's right.
These young guys, 50 years ago, we actually celebrated our 57th anniversary on May the 5th. The first boy actually came on May the 5th, 1964. So 57 years ago. So that was interesting to see them pounding nails again.
So founded in 62, but actually opened in 64. So you start the clock in 64, and
yeah, we've gone around about that over the years, but we figured with the first young man coming in May the 5th, 1964, we've kind of always seen that as our anniversary date of actually starting to serve children.
Right.
Yeah. Boy, your group really takes a tone about Fords, Ed. I tell you what, we've got some anti-Ford.
Wow. I'm seeing some of that now too. I haven't seen that before, but they are Kubota fans. I know that for sure, because
that's good.
We have
that's
a lot of Kubota fans here. Which, by the way, let's divert for a second. Part of the reason that we did that video last week is because I was talking to one of your staff members, and they told me that actually they were watching the live stream, and they asked a question about rototillers, and I reached out to say, why are you asking about rototillers? Like, do you have one or whatnot?
Mm-hmm.
And so they explained that you had bought a tractor and that you had ordered some implements, but they were on back order, probably just because of COVID and the delays that the whole country has seen. So that's when I said, can I come help you out with that? Because I have a rototiller. So your purchase was do you have the tractor already and waiting on the implements, or are you waiting on everything?
No, we have a Kubota tractor, and so as you can see, farming has always been gardening has always been a part of our programming and our life skills training at the ranch for 57 years, and it's been at different sites and different locations. If you're familiar with South Jersey, especially where we're from, the first glass house ever was created here in South Jersey, and that's because we're rich on clay and sand and things like that. That's good for making glass. So it's not always good for growing gardens. We have a lot of clay in our soil, but we went up front from where our horses had been to one of our front pastures, and had been fertilized for years. And we had some good friends and some folks that worked with Rutgers research, and they started working with us and creating our first garden, another garden, back in 2018. And so then recently, a grant opportunity became available through the PSEG Foundation. Public Service Energy and Gas here in New Jersey is known for a lot of things. It's also known for nuclear power. It's known for electricity and so forth. And they also give back to their community, and we've been the recipient of a lot of different grants over the years. So they had a grant opportunity, and we thought, well, talking about life skills, we're talking about gardening. We've had some success with our garden. How do we expand that, or how do we go in maybe a new direction with our garden? We have one greenhouse on site, and so two things came into play. We talked about expanding our garden, our current garden, which you guys all got to see in the video, and then we also got thinking about what new thing could we bring to the table. And we thought about, we love Christmas, we love celebrating Christmas at Rancho. What about growing Christmas trees? It's not in the grand scheme of things. Now, they're going to be Christmas tree growers. They're going to start jamming me up on comments here, Ed.
We know some Christmas tree growers here. Be careful now.
Yeah, so I'm going to, we thought with the kids that we work with, for the amount of time that they're with us and the turnover and so forth, what long-term type of growing could we do? And so we thought, well, maybe Christmas trees. It's not going to be easy, but maybe that's something that we could look at. And, we're going to have a 5 to 10 year, growth. As far when we start it, it's going to take a while. And can we look into maybe starting to grow Christmas trees? And so we put forth a grant request, and we were given funding to start to increase our farming process. And so we were able to buy a new Kubota tractor. We were able to add on not only a bucket onto it and have a front end loader, but also we were able to purchase a mower and some additional decking for it, as well as a tiller to help us with the garden. Now, it didn't come in before the growing season was supposed to start, so that's where our good friend Ed jumped in, and we used to do it by hand with rototillers, and we still were going to move ahead and do that if we needed to. But we appreciated Ed jumping in and helping us get the garden going and expand the size of it.
Yeah, it looks like we nearly doubled it. We got a question here from the Watershed Overlook. We're all tractor nerds here, he's saying. So you shared it with me. It's a Kubota L4701. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, it's pretty big.
So that's pretty big.
47 horsepower.
I know that a lot of the folks that I interact with here on the channel have compact tractors, or even what's called a subcompact tractor. So you've got Kubota has the BX series, which is a subcompact, and then the B series that I have is a compact, and then the L, it just keeps going up from there, basically. So that's a pretty big machine, a 4701. So that's you'll get good use out of that for sure. So Chris, does that answer your question about which model? I wonder if anybody in the comments here has that model tractor. I know some have the L. See, now I'm going to nerd out here a little bit, but the L series is a certain platform. There's an L2501, which I almost bought but didn't, Then there's an L3301, and then you have the L4701. So obviously different horsepowers. Now I don't know if it's the same subframe or whatever as the smaller ones, but that's kind of where we are with that. Hey, Doug Davis, good to see you. Thank you so much for that super chat. I really appreciate that. I know Doug's been working a lot and has not been able to join us on the past few live streams. I think working night work, but Doug's a hard worker, and I always appreciate seeing you here tonight. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I want to remind folks too, and if I'm rambling and going all over the place here, but that reminded me that part of another reason for doing that video last week is hopefully to gain some support for those who are interested for the ranch. So if you go to ranchhope.org and you would like to support the ranch, please do so. I just want to throw that out there. So
do that, Ed. I also just wanted to mention to your listeners, you may say, well, why did you get such a big tractor? You're not this giant farm, but we also plan to use it. We have to plow a lot of snow here in the winters here in South Jersey. Not recently, we haven't had to do a lot of that, but
no, we haven't.
But there are times that we have to, when we have different projects around the facilities and different things that we have going on. Move a lot of mulch for flower beds and so forth. We've got some really cool rain gardens that we're constantly maintaining here on the property as well. And so there are different projects as well as the farming and the Christmas tree farming. We wanted to be able to do the mowing and we have our own ability in Augur to be able to plant and do some of those things as well for the trees. So we were excited to be able to get this size tractor and hopefully it'll last us a while. We know it will and be able to use it. We have a lot of other acreage that we have to mow. We also manage another local camp site about a mile from our property, Camp Edge, which I'm promoting tonight.
Very nice.
And we have to do some mowing and different management around there as well. So
awesome. I see Gary here is debating between the B2601 and the L2501. That was exactly what I looked at myself there, Gary. And I think the L2501 sits a little bit higher. It's a little bigger machine, but they both have the same horsepower engine. I went with the B2601 because I kind of got caught up in there aren't many luxuries with a tractor, but the L series is more of a basic series, and the B series has a little bit more options. So it has things I've never used. It has a tilt steering wheel. I don't really use that on my tractor. It has a phone charger, which is nice. I definitely have used that. You kind of need an outlet. You can always add one to a tractor easy enough, but it has an outlet, so I added that. Or I didn't add that. I have that and have used that. It has a rubber floor mat instead of just a metal floor. So, and one of the other things is that the B series has the adjustable 3-point hitch sway arms. That's the I don't know the word for it. I'm not as smart as a lot of these people on this channel, but they're adjustable, where the L series has the turnbuckle type, and they can be a pain if you have to adjust your 3-point arms in and out. So the B2601 has a few more options built into it, and it was also, for me, it was a nice size, so that's why I went with that. Good luck, Gary. If anybody in the comments can give Gary any more advice on the L2501 versus the B2601, please do so. And Doug Davis has the L3560 Limited. I don't even know what that is, but that's probably maybe it's a model that came out before the current L series. But you kind of love whatever you have, and I know that your folks there are going to really get good use out of that machine.
And I've been promoting your show for our staff to use as training tools. I've been watching them like crazy about, as I've shared with you, about the different things and how you've added various things, lighting and hooks and all kinds of different things you've welded on there. And you've promised me, Ed, that I'm going to be able to come over and weld one of these days. So I'm excited about that opportunity.
Absolutely.
One of your comments said, what do we do with our produce when we after we've had some success in our garden?
I did see that earlier, and I'm glad you commented on that, because I know that went by and we weren't quite at that point yet, so I'm glad you brought that back up.
So it's been awesome. Number one, so all of our kids are a part of a life skills training program. So they're constantly learning all kinds of different things. We had 9 of our youth last year, or 7 of our youth last year that were certified lifeguards. They went through the lifeguard training and became certified lifeguards as part of their life skills training. But then we also have this gardeners, which we're focusing on tonight. And so they're constantly learning new menus and ways to take this from farm to table each and every day. You'll see them down in our life skills kitchen making different things with kale or doing different things with tomatoes. Or one night they made we had a board meeting, and we have 17 members of our board, and they made this awesome salad, and the board members got to try the salad, and some of them were also canning cucumbers and different things like that. So it's always interesting. The majority of our youth are coming from inner cities here in New Jersey. So for these kids, number one, to be out on a farm and be learning how to grow things is just phenomenal and just a great opportunity. And then to grow their own food and say, normally, most kids don't even know where food comes from, right? And so to actually see it grow and then be able to pick it and go out there and weed and do everything you need to do to maintain and learn those disciplines as well is just it's just a really cool experience. It's hard to explain, but to see it firsthand is. And then for some of you that saw the kids learning how to drive a tractor, most of our kids, like any teenagers, are going to say, "Oh yeah, I've done that," or "I've experienced that." But then they get on it and you're like, "Okay, now you've got 30 horsepower under you. Let's see what you got." Was thrilling to see these kids and to have that opportunity. Yeah, there's Aiden. Right. I was watching the video and I'm thinking, these guys, just seeing them, and you're not in control, right? You're having to really trust somebody and trust the equipment and trust what somebody's telling you is the right thing, and that's life, and that's a tremendous life skill as well.
It was fun, and I did intentionally put that in low gear. Like I told Aiden, this thing will go 5 miles an hour, so be careful. I knew I could run and catch up to him. I can run 5 miles an hour, so I wasn't too worried about that. But they really did have a great time, so it was neat to see them on there. And even Aiden here, he said that he did have some experience, that his grandfather had a tractor, and but yet still, once he was on there, you could see he was still excited. It wasn't.
Absolutely. And I was telling my own son, Ed, who's 21, we were watching the video together. I said, now when you started to move it, I said, now see how the bucket, they're keeping it down level toward the ground. I said, I learned that watching Ed's video the other day. You want to keep it down there to keep your balance and keep your center of gravity where it needs to be.
That's right. You don't want any tip overs going. That's for sure. No tip overs happening.
Always learning. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And that's good. There'll be a lot to learn for sure. So
David, I hope that we're not going to have to wait 11 weeks, but wow, I see that on back order there, but we've been waiting a little while, but hopefully we'll get moving here. I don't want to name I don't know if that's okay to name where we got ours, but a local dealer in Kubota's here in South Jersey, and appreciated all their help in picking the Kubota out and working with us and getting all the equipment that we needed.
Yeah, it seems to be a common theme that people are waiting for their equipment for a long time. Now, one of my videos I talked about how I made a mistake and I bent my loader on my tractor and it became an insurance claim. I do have the KTAC insurance because when you finance, you have to have some kind of insurance. So I was kind of glad that I had to have it. But that was a 4-month wait, and that was early last summer. So we were kind of just getting into the delays at that point. And I had to wait 4 months just for the parts to come in for that tractor. So I think it's only gotten kind of worse from there. But
some of the questions, Ed. So back when Ed and I were in high school, we would have classmates from the ranch at Woodstown High that on average lived at the ranch from 2 to 4 years. They would live there and go all the way through their high school years and possibly graduate with us. Many of them were our classmates and teammates and all those kind of things. And some of my friends still today. But now, today, our world is more of a managed care world. So our kids stay with us anywhere from 9 to 12 months on average. So a much faster turnover. They usually are with us maybe for a school year, depending on when they arrive. Kids usually arrive at the ranch at the beginning of the school year, which in August, just before September, when we start our school year here in New Jersey. Then they may come in just around the Christmas break, and then again at the end of the school year in the June, July area. So, but they're normally with us. But it's all individualized, so they could be with us shorter amount of time or longer. Of course, with the COVID pandemic, kids have been able to go home and be with their families, which has been tremendously sad. We haven't been allowed to have the kids go home for what we call a therapeutic home leave. And so that has really delayed their ability to advance and continue to heal with their families and work through some issues that they're having at home. That's really delayed all that. And so most of the kids that have been with us now have been with us for over a year.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And so what grade group do you serve? Is it like grade 6 through 12, or is it younger than that, or?
On average, the boys that come to us, and we do serve some girls, but that's in our short-term shelter programming, and those kids aren't here at this site where the garden is. They're at a different location. But on our main campus, we serve only boys, and the boys, most of the boys on average are from 12 to 16 when they arrive. Now we also have an independent living program. We have a program for young men age 18 to 21, and they're basically young men who are homeless, and they're looking for an option, and they stay with us for usually an average a year, and we get jobs and job training and job shadowing, and most of them leave with a car and some insurance, and trying to get them on getting their own apartment and moving forward. But the young men that you would have seen in the video, they're anywhere from 12 to 16 on average.
Okay. David White, you're right. No matter what age, kids love tractors. That's true.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. Anything motorized. We also get kids involved with our facilities maintenance. We have an auto shop program too, where kids learn the basics of auto trade, and if nothing else, how to change your oil and brakes and tires and things like that. Now years ago we had a carpentry program and all kinds of things, but school curriculums, as most of us know, have gotten so short-term and fast-paced now. We've had to cut down on a lot of our vocational training, but we're still trying to do some of these things.
And you have a school on campus, and does that cover the grade levels? I know some kids go to a high school outside of the campus, yeah. But you do have an on-site school as well.
Yeah, we have two educational opportunities. We have our own private special education school. So those of you that may be familiar with youth that maybe have some special education needs and have their own IEP, individual education plan. I did see some comments in the area around the spectrum or autism, and yes, there are kids. They're the kids that we're working with on a daily basis in different situations. But then we also have a regular ed component. About 10 years ago, we started our own virtual classroom for kids that do not have special education needs, but still need to be educated outside the public realm for right now until we can get them matriculated back in. And so we have about 10 of our youth that go to school through a virtual education curriculum where they have teachers in the classroom with them on our site, but then they also take each of their own individual core content, math, English, virtually at their own pace. We've seen some tremendous success. It's not for everybody, but it's been a real cool component of what we've been able to do over the years.
That's awesome, Doug. Let me tell you, man, Doug is the most generous person, and I get a little emotional, seeing this. I really appreciate that so much. God bless you, Doug, and I certainly I'll take this and I'll pay it forward to the ranch. Whatever. Technically, YouTube takes a cut, whatever that is. But anyway, thank you so much, Doug. I appreciate that.
Wow.
And just so you know, Dave, we'll pay that forward for sure. So thank you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. One of the other, thank you so much. Certainly not the reason that we're on here tonight. We're here to, in essence, also thank Ed for all that he I can't even begin to tell you. This is fantastic, and the tractor piece was great. But Ed does stuff for us all the time, video, all kinds of stuff that Ed Masker has done for Rancho over the years, and just been a great friend. And as I said, what you see on the show is legit. And this is this guy and who he is. And one of the other components I talked about was our camp. And we also, at our camp, we host a local mountain bike team. And it's up to 40 kids now, Ed, high school, middle school age kids from the community. They're not kids that are in our programming. We have some of our kids that do mountain bike, but these are local Salem County and Cumberland County kids. And so we host that team there. And they just gave us a donation. We were able to buy 2 more bikes for kids to be able to mountain bike, and paying it forward. And that's a real cool component. So thanks, Doug. That's going to go to buying some things for the horticulture program, and we appreciate that. And we'll let you know how we spend that. Absolutely.
Excellent. We'll just have to come back. Doug's here on the live stream, so that'll be good to give an update. And I will put it out there again. If anybody's interested in supporting the ranch, you can go directly to ranchhope.org and support the ranch that way. Certainly, if I can help in any way, let me know. It's interesting because my thoughts about the ranch throughout the years, and especially as I've gotten older, is the amount of effort that it takes. And I know that it's a passion for you, for your staff, but it's so much work. And I raised a house full of teenagers, and that was for a season of our life. But you have perpetual teenagers, and that is so difficult. I mean, I imagine it's difficult, and unless you're made for it. I'm not. I like I said, I went through it with our own kids, and got through the teen years. But you've got perpetual teens there, and that's got to be tough.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's interesting. My mom spoke at Aldine Methodist yesterday, and she was kind of sharing how she came from a family of 13 growing up. She grew up in Bayonne, New Jersey, by the way, up north. And she was sharing that she never wanted to she didn't want to have this big family. She didn't want to do all these different things in life that she didn't want to do. And God has a sense of humor. And of course, here she ends up raising other people's teenagers in a way, and starting this mission for kids. She didn't want to move. She always had to move as a child with her family, moving from job to job. And here she's married to a Methodist pastor, and he moves from church to church to church. And so she was talking about that. But same for me. I mean, here I grew up automatically with 40 or 50 teenage brothers. And so I always laugh. I learned an interesting vocabulary early in life, some of which words that, people would question. But I also, I learned a lot about diversity and people who weren't like me and didn't necessarily come from a rural background that I came from. But I count it all a blessing. They've all impacted my life. And yeah, so to your point, Ed, it's not for everybody. They certainly keep you on your toes. Yeah. But we like to throw around that term, it takes a village, but it does. And so sometimes it's maybe somebody like yourself that just comes in for a few hours in a week, but changes their life. I might be with that kid for 9 months and do nothing, and you came in one day and changed their life. Yeah. So that's it. All works. It's all
like your favorite uncle comes in, like.
That's right.
Dad gets no credit, but uncle gets all the credit. That's how it is.
We see that in all our families, yeah. Right? It's those different people that come in and make that difference. I was telling Ed earlier, listeners, that everybody's paying attention, that bird behind him, that brought back a memory of my childhood for a guy, Bill Reeves, a local guy who was a scoutmaster and just a great guy who changed my life and one of my top 5 mentors in my life. And he had one of those in his kitchen. And so I think of Bill Reeves when I saw that, Ed. Thank you.
You bet. All right. And Doug's going with the super chat again. So I can't thank you enough, Doug. You're very kind person. We appreciate it for sure. Let me say hi to Mike. Now, you're talking about diversity, and that's one of the things that I love about this YouTube community. Mike, it's good to see you, AK Dad Stuff. Mike has a channel up in Alaska, and he has the same tractor that I have, or I have the same one he has. I think he had his first, because that's how I found Mike's channel, is by researching Kubota tractors. So we have this really neat community, very diverse, especially in geography. Who would think that I'd be chatting with people from Alaska, and John Ritter, my first YouTube guest from Minnesota. Such a neat, diverse community here. So saying that, hi to Mike from AK Dad Stuff. It's good to see you. And also, we're talking about young people. Caden is about the age of a lot of your students there, Dave. And Caden has his own YouTube channel called Caden's Outdoor Life, and just a young person working with tractors and equipment all the time, and putting out YouTube content. Still of school age, so doing that part of your life with schooling. But it's neat to see all the opportunities. And I'll tell you a short story. But the student who we didn't get the release for, and he operated the camera for me, that was really really fun, because we had you have half a dozen kids there that day.
Yeah.
But there's one could not appear on camera because you have to have a release, to show somebody's image. So I happened to say, do any of you have experience with a camera? And he jumped right up and he's like, I do. And so I showed him my camera, and I said, can you get some shots, some wide shots of the tractor? And you could see the handheld shots that were in there. It was a different look. But he was following me around the tractor and doing a great job, really getting into it. He was laying on the ground, and he was I could see the creativity coming out. And I was so happy that I thought to ask, can anybody use the camera? And then after we were done, he came up to me and he said, do you think I could help you sometime in the future? So, he has an interest in this video, and, talking about Caden, who's a young person, has his own channel. These kids, they can do that. They have the opportunity, and especially with equipment these days, everybody has a cell phone, and there are YouTube channels that are created solely with a cell phone. The equipment's there. So I hope that, as these kids graduate from the ranch or move on, that they find opportunities like this. So
yeah, that really was spectacular. And Josiah, he was just thrilled to be involved. I've got another friend that's joining me here. Sorry.
Hey, Pop.
This is Rory, and Rory wanted to say hello. So I know that he was really thrilled to be. And so we're always saying to the kids, the fancy term is you're trying to build your portfolio, right? But
Right.
really, it's all about life experiences and life skills and things along those lines. And so here's Josiah that can now say, I've helped make this video. And one of the things I wanted to mention to you, Ed, we're constantly asked, not constantly, but several times a year, it'll come up about entering a video in some type of event, or something that the kids were involved in. And so if that comes along, I may come back to you and say, hey, could we take this piece and enter it in something? Because I think it would be awesome to show not only the kids learning, but also being a part of it. And,
Absolutely.
Be pretty cool. And Caden, I want to just encourage you, man. That's awesome. I'm going to check out your site as well. And to be a student that's also putting himself out there and has his own show, that's fantastic.
Doing a great job. Hey, and Peterson Farm of Nashville is saying hello to Caden. So I want to say hi to Phil from Peterson Farms of Nashville. Dave, did you know that this is not the Nashville you're thinking of?
You got me there. I did think it was the Nashville I was thinking of.
I learned from Phil here at Peterson Farms that there is more than one Nashville. And this is Nashville, I hope I don't get it wrong, Nashville, Indiana. They call it Little Nashville.
Okay.
So there's a fun fact.
And when you said that your other friend was from Alaska, we actually have a monthly supporter from Kenai, Alaska. Amazing.
Very nice.
I mean, I thought of that as soon as because I know we have the one. Because every time I sent them a thank you letter note, I look up the weather that day, and I said, hey, I see it's minus 20 today. How's everybody doing in Kenai? Or I just put a little fun fact for that day or whatever's going on.
That's funny. Mike, do you know where that is? Now, I watch Mike's videos, and it's funny because this time of year, sometimes I'm out still with a jacket on in the 40s, and here's Mike doing a video in his short sleeves. So you just never know. So TYI Customs, good to see you this evening. TYA, TYM. See,
in Nashville, in Georgia.
Yes. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Well, apparently there are a lot of Nashvilles. I was corrected in one of my live streams, and I got this fun fact wrong. I had heard that the reason the Simpsons were from Springfield is because every state has a Springfield. And my viewers kind of went through that night and found out there are some states that do not have a Springfield. So that must have been wrong. I thought that was interesting because you start looking at there is a Springfield in nearly every state.
I also wanted to share, Ed, that on episode 15, you were unpacking your quick hitch.
Oh, yes.
And you gave a little short, brief educational piece about how to unhook the bands on the box.
Right.
And I quickly thought to myself, when I was in high school, I worked for Roy Mulhorn at his deli in Beckett. And on Sunday mornings, we'd get there nice and early when the paper just arrived, and you'd have to unhook the bands on the Philadelphia Inquirer to get them ready. And he taught us that. You flip them over, and he'd unhitch them from the opposite side.
Is that right? So you knew that trick.
I said, Ed, I knew something. You didn't. I knew that already.
I thought you were going to tell me I taught you something. Instead, it was something you already knew.
You've taught me so many things, but that one, I knew that one already.
That's funny. So. Yeah, and actually, I learned that probably 10 years ago from a teenager who I was working with, and I think they were unpacking, wasn't newspapers, but boxes or something. So I actually learned that from a teenager. And oddly enough, I look forward to taking those plastic straps off whenever I have to, because I'm like, I want to see if this works. So it works every time. It's amazing.
Every time.
And
every time.
I hope the viewers know what we're talking about. You know how things are bound together with this. It's just a plastic strap, and it's like melted together. And, you can pick away at that, and you can't release it, but you can cut it. But the trick is if you turn it upside down and pull it from underneath, it snaps right off. So,
hey Maggie, when did Laurie work for them? I would have worked for Roy and Willie, who recently passed away.
Walker's in the house.
I would have worked for them in 1983, 84 ish. I'm now showing my age, but yeah, I worked when I was in high school. I worked at the Beckett Deli for Roy and Willie when they had that store. Roy was tough, but a good man. Good man.
This is the most localized live stream we've ever done. We've got people actually connecting at a personal level here. We always have people connecting in the comments, but now we have people who actually know Dave and have, worked in the same store. So that's really funny. So 6D Ranch, I'm glad you made it. I know you were disappointed that you missed last week, so I'm glad you're here to at least catch the end. We're going to wrap up here shortly, but I am glad that you made it tonight. So good to see you.
Ed, I want to ask if any of your listeners are familiar with growing Koosa. Now you can spell Koosa Koosa or Kousa. We started growing it by accident.
I don't even know what that is, Dave. What's Koosa?
So
it's not. No, couscous is like a pasta, right? But this is
so Koosa is actually an Arabic word, and it's for zucchini. But it's like a spring or summer squash. It's like a Lebanese summer squash. And all of a sudden it started growing in our garden. So we'll see if you tilt over it this year, it may not come up immediately, but we do have some seeds from a couple of years ago.
Interesting.
And it's an interesting vegetable that we grew last year for the first time.
Well, I know we have a lot of gardeners out there. So if you're familiar with Koosa, let us know in the comments, and maybe
they have a good recipe.
Maybe a recipe, or teach us something about it. So one thing I want to do, Dave, and we're going to wrap up usually by 8 o'clock, but something we've been doing each week is giving away a vinyl sticker pack. It's been kind of fun because folks hang in there for the show, and I like to be able to give them something. So what we do is a little trivia toward the end of the show, and I'm going to ask you to help me pick the winner once we do this little trivia question.
Okay.
By the way, I did give some stickers to the boys last week, and they were excited. They were great. I pulled it out of my pocket, and they're like, "You got merch!" Like,
yeah, you got your own merch.
You got merch. Hey, by the way, and I hate to push this stuff. I don't really hate to push it, but some people they like the merch. I got this shirt here. And I don't know where the website is now. Anyway, I do have a little merch website that runs through Teespring. And Teespring sent me an email the other day saying through the month of April, your shoppers can save, I think, 10%. So if you are interested in any MCG merch, you can go to shopmcg.com and check out the merch. I've got a mug on there. Here's one right here. And I've got some T-shirts and things like that. So you can save 10% through the month of May. Let me bring this little graphic up. You can
Father's
talk in
Day
the
is
background.
coming up, Ed. Father's Day is coming up.
Father's Day is coming up. That's true. That's true. So shopmcg.com is where you go, and it takes you to this site, and you can get things like shirts and mugs. Not a whole lot of things, but just kind of a fun thing. So I did want to mention that for those who are interested. So here's the thing, Dave. I'm going to ask the viewers that if you have won anything in the past from me, that you do not answer the question. So just don't participate in this trivia because we want to give everybody a chance who may not have won in the past. I'm going to send out 3 of these vinyl stickers. You can stick them on your tractor. You can stick them on your truck, your car. Actually, Phil, I don't know if you were here last week, Phil from Peterson Farms from Nashville. Phil won the stickers, and he made this nice video of him receiving the stickers and was really kind. And he showed himself putting the sticker on his Kubota tractor. And if you weren't here last week, Phil, I showed that video to the group here, and really appreciate it. That was very kind. So, Dave, here's how it's going to work. You can see the comments, right?
Yes.
So generally, it's the first correct answer that you see will be the winner. I tell people it may not be in the same order that appears on their screen. It may not be the very first answer. It's just the first one you see. So, they come in at different times, and they're coming in from Facebook. They're coming in from YouTube. So I think I made my point.
You're not going to get me in trouble, Ed. I'm not going to
get you in trouble, and I don't want anybody to be upset. Like, hey, mine came in. My answer was first. It's whatever Dave sees first is going to be the winner. So if you were watching the show from the beginning, you'll know this answer because we said it a couple of times. And actually, I'll give you, Dave, the latitude of discretion in which would be the correct answer.
Okay.
But the question is, what year was Ranch Hope established, or what year did Ranch Hope start? There may be 2 answers that you would accept for this one, Dave. So
that's correct.
Let's see. Somebody who did not win in the past, answer the question: what year did Ranch Hope start? I always imagine there are some people like Googling as quick as they can to come, which would be cool. I think that's kind of neat. So, let's see. I'm looking at the comments. If there's anything.
Kevin's right in. Kevin
Brewer.
Kevin Brewer.
Is that the first one you saw?
That's the first one I saw.
There you go. Kevin Brewer, 1962. Paying attention.
Winner, chicken dinner. Good job,
go, Kevin. Hey, let me ask you this, Dave. I'm put you on the spot here just a little second. Does the ranch have any kind of merch? Do you do any do you have little printed things or anything fun that we could slip in the box for Kevin or the envelope?
We do, yeah. We could. I could actually send Kevin the book about Ranch Hope. I could send him.
That's very kind.
We have a book all about the history of Ranch Hope, and I'll pop that in there with him.
Excellent. So there you go, Kevin. You not only won the stickers, but you're going to get a little history of Ranch Hope from Dave. So I'll get together with Dave and we'll just ship that all out together. Congratulations, Kevin. And other answers here. Good to see that people were paying attention. Maggie got 64. That's what I was saying. You probably would take either answer because we talked about that it was founded in 62, but it actually started, the first student was 64. So you kind of count that as the starting point. So either way. And I think, who did I see? Somebody said both answers in there.
Yeah, they're all right on point. Incorporated in 62, and the first youth came in 64. Yeah. So, yeah,
and
great job.
Put them both down, so that's great.
Great job, man.
Thank you all for paying attention. That's great.
And hey, Maggie, I know Connie as well. Your comment, yes.
Okay, nice. See, everybody knows everybody. So I really appreciate, Dave, that you took the hour to spend with us tonight. I appreciate everything that you do there at the ranch with these young people And I've shared with folks before that anytime that I do anything with the ranch, which is infrequent, certainly I don't deserve much credit for helping as much as other people do, but anytime I go to an event or anything that the ranch is involved with, I walk away so impressed. I mean, these kids are such gentlemen, and they really are impressive. They're so kind and courteous, and I just always have a great experience. So thank you for all that you're doing. I know it's not easy, and I know it doesn't come without challenges, because that's why you're there. But I do see good results, and really appreciate it. So,
and thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of the Cluttered Garage family tonight.
You are part of the family.
Blast. Had a good time. I appreciate you letting Rory join in as well, point in time, and your comments. We certainly, we have our moments. Anytime you have to stand in the gap for teenagers at some point in time, you also have your ups and downs with it too. But we appreciate the opportunity that you gave the kids, and we know it won't be the last.
It is not easy to be a teenager, even when you have what the world might think is a perfect life, and it's not easy. So it's tough. Hey, Tractor Talk with Gary. I'm sorry you just got in at the end here. You have to watch the replay. Gary also has a nice channel and is doing great things over there. So good to see you, Gary. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry that you're tuning in right as we're getting ready to end the show. But yeah, Gary made a nice comment about about the video we made with the kids last week. So yes, Gary, join the replay and you could hear more from Dave. So, all right. Thank you, Peterson Farms. Appreciate it. Dave, any closing comments? So can we come back and see the equipment, the tractor and all that? That's what the viewers here like to see, is some equipment and whatnot. We diverted from the show a little bit tonight. We did talk about some equipment and farming and gardening and tractoring, but for sure, we want to come back and see equipment.
We are really going to enjoy our new Kubota, and we are excited to share it with you. And just thanks for your generosity tonight, and your welcoming me, and Doug, generosity. I mean, wow, over the top. Appreciate everybody's support tonight and your kind comments, and it was great to be with everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Thank you, everybody. And I am excited for upcoming videos. I've been releasing videos on Fridays at 7 p.m. Right now, I'm trying to keep up with that schedule, so I've got another one coming out this Friday, so make sure you check that out when it comes. And other than that, thank you, Dave. Thank you to the viewers, and we'll see you next time.